Hey everybody, it's Pastor Jeff for Saturday of Holy Week. Out here on the back porch, just enjoying the beautiful day that we've been given. Just reflecting, taking some time to think about all that Jesus suffered for you and for me. Not a whole lot on Saturday, but I guess it depends on who you are. So, wait for a few of you guys to get on. Hopefully, you'll join with me. I know it's a busy day, but we want to talk about Saturday of Holy Week. Everybody knows what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is the Resurrection Day, Easter. So, we're excited for tomorrow. And I don't imagine that the disciples had the same excitement on the Saturday of their Holy Week, not knowing what would be. They should have known that Jesus was going to rise from the grave, but they didn't. I want to share with you just a few things on Saturday of Holy Week. We see Jesus crucified on Friday. We see him hung on the cross for about 6 hours. For several hours, we see it turn pitch dark. We see the veil in the temple torn from top to bottom. And to prevent Jesus from hanging on the cross on the Passover day, today would have been Saturday, would have been the Sabbath day. So to prevent Jesus from hanging on the cross on the Sabbath day, Joseph of Arimathea went to Pilate to ask for the body of Jesus Christ. I want you to see a couple things that happened on Friday evening or Friday afternoon. And when evening had come, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. This man went to Pilate and to ask for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given to him. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock, and he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb, and departed. And Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary sitting opposite of the tomb. So they saw where Jesus was buried. It says on the next day, which followed the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together to Pilate, saying, "Sir, we remember while he was still alive how the deceiver said, 'After 3 days I will rise.' Therefore, command that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say to the people, 'He has risen from the dead.' So the last deception will be worse than the first." Pilate said to them, "You have a guard, go your way, make it as secure as you can." So they went and made the tomb secure, sealing the stone and setting the guard. Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus buried Jesus' body in that borrowed tomb, that new tomb that Joseph had hewn out of the rock for himself. I can only imagine Friday afternoon what should have been a day of hope, what should have been this Passover day, this day of the Sabbath coming up, was a day of gloom and doom and grief for the disciples. Probably on Friday evening, the beginning of the Sabbath day, the chief priest convinced Pilate to guard the tomb just to keep the disciples from stealing Jesus' body. You know, I can only imagine it was Saturday and the disciples were gathered together. Judas had hanged himself. The rest of the disciples had hidden away for fear that maybe they would be next, fear that after this Passover celebration, after this holy Sabbath day, that maybe the guards would come looking for them also. No hope. They had hoped, they had believed, they had so thought that Jesus was the Messiah. But to them, the fact that Jesus didn't set up his kingdom, see, they just didn't understand The fact that Jesus didn't set up his kingdom causes them to wonder and not to know if Jesus really was the Messiah. Peter had admitted, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." But in his own eyes, he couldn't see. Peter had denied him 3 times. The rooster had crowed. Peter went out, wept bitterly. I can only imagine how Peter felt today, Saturday. Saturday, a day of the Sabbath for the Jew, but no hope for them, gloom and doom. Jesus was dead. He had been buried. They'd seen the place where they laid his body. They'd seen him taken down on the cross. They'd seen him prepared for burial. They'd seen him taken to the grave. Jesus was dead. And for them, all hope was lost. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what they felt. I can only imagine the despair that filled their hearts. I can only imagine what they must have thought. You know, today, on our Saturday of Holy Week, we know what happens. We know. And that's what we have hope in. Jesus had told his disciples numerous times, "I'll have to go to Jerusalem. I'll have to be handed over. I will be crucified. I'll die, but I will rise again." But these disciples just couldn't grasp it, couldn't understand it. I can only imagine how they felt. Church, the hope that we have today of the resurrection, maybe they should have had it, but they didn't. All hope for them was lost. Jesus had died, been buried. This was Saturday, a day of grief, day of despair. But oh, Sunday's coming. Sunday's coming. I want to invite everybody, tune in with us tomorrow at 10:45. We'll have a very special online only. No parking lot service, no drive-in service. The weather's going to be too bad. Stay in and be careful. Join us for online service. McMinnville Church of God, 10:45. I hope to see you there. He is risen. Hallelujah. He's alive.